learners, welcome to the online session for the program Certificate in Food and Nutrition. Today we will deal with course 1, that is You and Your Food. I am Ms. Bhanvi Grover, your counselor for today's session. So today we will be learning about selection, preparation and nutritive value of pulses, nuts and oilseeds. This is block 3, unit 15 of your course You and Your Food. So here's the insight to the presentation. We will be covering topics like introduction, nutritive value of pulses, that is, we will learn about various nutrients we get from pulses, variety of pulses available in the market, selection of pulses, that is, the points we should keep in mind while buying pulses from the market. Various ways to prepare them. We will discuss about various recipes and various uses of pulses. Now let us begin with the introduction to the topic. As we all know, pulses are the essential constituent of Indian diet. We Indians depend a lot on pulses for meeting our protein requirements. Now there are variety of pulses available in the market. To name a few, rajma, chana, besan, moong, masoor, arhar. These are the pulses which are frequently eaten by us. They are used in every household, and yes, they are part of at least one meal of our day. They are good sources of proteins, minerals, and vitamins. As vegetarians depend a lot on plant for their protein intake, pulses are the main source of protein in the diet of vegetarians. And as we know that India is a country which is dominated by vegetarians. Now there is a way by which we can further improve the protein quality of pulses. Yes, we can surely enhance the protein content or the quality of pulses. And the secret behind this is that we combine them with cereals. This is the combination which we are using always in our meals. This is the combination which even our ancestors were using, even if they were unaware of the benefits. Now, here are some common examples of this combination. And these are dal roti. Yes, dal is a pulse, roti is a cereal. So we are using a combination. We eat dal chawal. We make khichdi, which is also a combination of cereal and pulse. Even the batter which we make for idli and dosa, it has 3 parts of cereal, which is rice, and 1 part of pulse, which is urad dal. Now, why am I saying that the quality of pulse is improved when they are combined with cereals? Don't worry, this I will surely let you know in the later part of my presentation. Now, let's learn about the nutritive value of pulses. Being rich in protein, pulses are also referred to as poor man's meat. Now, why we call it poor man's meat? We know as animal sources are known for providing good quality protein. And they are quite expensive. Not everyone, not poor people cannot really afford animal food. So they depend a lot on pulses for the protein intake. Hence, this is the reason that it is called as poor man's meat. Now, pulses contain double the amount of protein as compared to cereals. As you can see in the figure below, 100 gram of whole Bengal gram contains 17 gram of protein. That is 17% protein. While 100 grams of milled rice contains 6.5 gram of protein. That is 6.5% of protein. So the amount of protein, you can see from these figures that Bengal gram contains 17%, while the rice contains 6.5%. It is just the half. Now, amongst the pulses, the amount of protein is highest in a pulse called soya bean. which is 43 gram per 100 gram. That is, soya bean contains 43% protein. Now, in addition to the protein, pulses also contain fair amounts of niacin, thiamine, which are B complex vitamins. It also contains calcium and iron. Though the pulses contain very little amount of vitamin C and B complex vitamins, but there are processes like fermentation and sprouting which enhances their content in the pulses. I mean to say that these two processes, fermentation and sprouting, when they are used for any pulse, then the vitamin B and vitamin C content in those pulses is enhanced. These processes also improve the digestibility of protein. Yes, protein gets easy to digest. Therefore, here is a takeaway message for each one of you who is seeing this presentation, that eat sprouted pulses. They are more nutritious, more good for your health. Now, further talking about the variety of pulses which are available in the market. So there are two types of pulses available in the market. One variety is whole pulses, what we call in our local language as sabut dalein. This includes rajma, chana, lobia, moong. Now you will see one common thing in these pulses, that they have a tough outer covering. This outer covering is a good source of B complex vitamins, vitamin C and fiber. And the good part is that these pulses, the whole pulses, can be easily sprouted, or we can say they can be easily germinated. Now the other variety is washed pulses, or we can say dehusked pulses. That is the pulses without the husk, without the outer covering. This includes pulses as moong dhuli, masoor dhuli. This is the common language we use for washed pulses. That is dhuli dalein. They do not have an outer covering and therefore they cannot be sprouted, and they are less nutritious than whole pulses. But everything has a pros and cons. The one benefit of having washed pulses is that they are easy to cook and very easy to digest. Now, let's understand what points should we keep in mind when we are going to market to buy pulses so that we are not cheated. So as we know that by now, there are variety of pulses available in the market. We have talked about two varieties which are commonly available in the market. It is important that we make a careful selection, and this selection really depends upon our intended use and our likes and dislikes. While buying pulses, we have to make sure that the pulses are free from gravel. Now what is gravel? They are the very small stones which are added to the pulses to increase the weight of the product. So this is basically added to cheaters. So we should be very careful that the pulses we are buying should be free from gravel. It should also be free from twigs and should not be infested by insects and molds. You will get to see, when you will see the pulse which you are buying from the market, if it has holes, it means that it has been infested by any insect. So avoid buying such pulse. Generally, it is seen that the pulses which are packed and are available in Super Bazaar and supermarts, they are clean and they are of very good quality. So we should try to buy pulse which is packed, and we should try to buy pulse from the Super Bazaar and supermarts, as we know they are cleaned and they are packed nicely. Now, let's talk about variety of preparations which can be made using pulses. We can make liquid preparations, like we make sambar, we make moong dal. We can make thick curries, like rajma, chana, lobia. There is another way we can use Bengal gram dal, that is we ground it and make a flour out of it, which we commonly call as besan. Now besan can be used to make pancakes. what we call as chila, besan ka chila. It is very nutritious. We use besan for preparing many other dishes, like we can prepare delicious pakoras out of it. We can make curry, we can make halwa. Besan can also be added to wheat flour for making chapatis and parathas. And again, that will be a combination of cereal and pulse. Besan also acts as a binding agent for making cutlets. We use another dal named urad dal in fermented products like idli and dosa. Like I have talked earlier in my presentation, that for making batter for idli and dosa, we use 3 parts of cereal, that is rice, and 1 part of pulse, that is urad dal. So that can be used to make delicious preparations like idli and dosa. They can also be used as a snack, like roasted chana or chana coated with besan or either coated with jaggery. We can use them as sprouts. Sprouted pulses can be used in variety of ways, like salads, which is very good for our health, and it also helps one in the weight loss journey as it has a lot of fiber. Now the sprouted pulses can also be added to the batter while we are making the pancakes, the besan ka chila, as it increases the vitamin C content and also adds fiber. They can be added to the flour for making parathas or chapatis. It will surely increase the nutritive value of paratha or chapati. Plus, it is very easy to cook and very easy to digest. So now, here comes the scientific explanation for the point which I have been mentioning again and again, that why cereals should be combined with pulses. Now, as discussed earlier, pulses are combined with cereals to make variety of preparations like paratha, puris, kachori. Here I want to mention, and I want all of you to learn this very important point, that cereals lack an amino acid named lysine, while pulses are lacking in an amino acid named methionine. So therefore, the combination of cereal and pulses in our diet improves their protein quality. So when we are combining cereal and pulses, we get lysine and methionine both, and therefore the protein quality is improved. Now, this process is called as mutual supplementation. Here is the definition for mutual supplementation for every one of you to remember. Proteins from different plant sources may be combined in such a way that deficiency of an essential amino acid in one protein is compensated by the adequate amount of same in the other protein. That is why combining these two is important for the intake of good quality protein. Now, after talking so much about sprouting, telling you so many benefits of sprouting, that how it is good for our health, it has fiber, it has enhanced vitamin C and B content, I would also like to tell you the process to germinate your pulses so that you can easily do it at home and enjoy it. For this, we have to take a whole pulse. That is a pulse with outer covering. Like I discussed, moong dal, you can take kala chana. We have to soak it overnight for about 6 to 12 hours. Then the next day, we can rinse the soaked pulses at least 2 to 3 times in a day. And as shown in the picture, we can tilt our jar and allow the water to drain. Now, your sprouts will be ready in 2 to 4 days. And it also depends upon the weather conditions. In summers, it takes comparatively less time, while in winters, it takes little more time for the pulses to get sprouts. Now, when you see the growth of about 1/4 inch, you dry them completely and store them in refrigerator. You can use them, once you make it, you can use them for about 2 to 3 days. So, at a time, you can sprout the quantity of pulse which can be used for about 3 days. Now, moving forward, let's discuss about the selection, preparation, and nutritive value of nuts and oilseeds. Here we will be learning about nutritive value of nuts and oilseeds, crucial points to keep in mind while we are going to market to select them, and the various uses in our diet. As we all know, that variety of nuts are available in the market. To name a few, they are cashew nuts, almonds, walnut, groundnut, till seeds, pista, etc. These nuts are very expensive and not everyone can afford it. And therefore, they are eaten in very small quantity. However, groundnut is comparatively cheaper and they are comparable to almonds when we talk about the nutritive value, and they are eaten quite often. Oilseeds like groundnut, till seeds and coconuts are used to extract oil. And as oil extracted from oilseeds is unsaturated in nature, they have many benefits over saturated fat. They are beneficial in the prevention of many non-communicable diseases like diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, obesity, and many more. Now, selection of nuts. How do we select them when we are going to market? What points should we keep in mind? So, do not buy pulses if they are spoiled. We should always look for small changes, like a change in smell, a change in taste. If the nuts are spoiled, they will taste bitter to you. So if the taste and smell is altered, it shows they are stale and we should avoid buying them. Now, their appearance is another important consideration. Nuts which are shriveled, that is, they get dry, they get small in size, and the skin gets wrinkle on them, they should not be bought. Also, we should look carefully for the presence of insects. As I told you when I was talking to you about selection of pulses, that if they have holes in them, you should avoid them. Similarly, I would say for nuts, if you are buying nuts and it has holes, avoid buying it. It clearly shows that it has been infested by insect. How we can use nuts? Nuts can be used as snacks. A thin coating of besan or jaggery makes them a very tasty snack and a very healthy one. As groundnut is inexpensive, it can be added to variety of dishes to give that crunchy texture. For example, in barfi, laddus, cutlets. This not only will add flavor to the product, but it will also improve its nutritive value. Now, groundnut can be used in the form of paste. We can make a paste out of it and they can be used as a sandwich spread. Groundnut flour can be added to variety of bakery items like cookies, biscuits, rusk, bread to give them a good texture and a very good flavor. Now, few kids who are allergic to cow milk, they can be given groundnut milk or coconut milk to fulfill their protein requirements. Talking about till seeds are very good source of calcium and can be combined with jaggery to make laddus, like we all do in winter season. Our mothers make laddus out of it. They can also be added to other preparations for improving the calcium content of diet. Seeds like khaskhas, they are added to sherbets and Indian sweets. Various oil seeds, as I mentioned earlier, they can be used to extract oil. And as this oil is unsaturated in nature, it is very good for consumption for people who are obese and those who are predisposed to various non-communicable diseases. So now here, I would like to sum up my presentation with mentioning few important points which we learned today, and these are that pulses form an important part of our diet. Most of the animal foods rich in protein are expensive, and as I mentioned, not everyone can use it. They can include it in their diet Therefore, pulses helps to fulfill our protein needs. Pulses provide us with iron and certain vitamins, as we discussed. Pulses can be cooked in variety of ways, so it adds variety to our diet. There are a variety of ways where we can combine pulses and cereals to improve the protein quality of our diet. We also learned about the role of nuts and oilseeds in our diet. We learned that groundnuts are cheaper and there are a variety of ways we can include groundnut in our diet. We learned about oilseeds, that they are used for extracting cooking oil and they are preferred over saturated fat as they helps in preventing the non-communicable diseases. Thank you so much for your patient listening. I hope that by the end of this session, you're more aware about the selection of pulses, nuts and oilseeds, the various uses in our diet, nutrition we get from them, and thank you so much for the patient listening.